Hi guys, it's Shananigans. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Copic Ciao markers. These are dual-tip alcoholic-based markers. They are refillable. They have the brush nib and the chisel nib. Today I'll be reviewing 3 of the sets and a single marker. So the 3 sets that I have are the skin color set, the primary color set, and the pastel color set. And the single Ciao marker that I have is BG09 in blue-green. These marker sets retail for $36.99 at Michael's. If you use a 50% off coupon, they're a little bit more than $18.50. On Amazon, these marker sets are around $25, so if you use a coupon at Michael's, you will save some money. And the single marker that I got was about $3, also using a 50% off coupon at Michael's. So let's jump into the video. The primary color set contains the colors R37 Carmine, YR04 Chrome Orange, Y15 Cadmium Yellow, G07 Nile Green, B29 Ultramarine, and BV08 Blue Violet. The pastel color set contains the colors RV21 Light Pink, V04 Lilac, Y21 Buttercup Yellow, YG11 Mignonette, B23 Aqua, and BG15 Phthalo Blue. The skin color set contains the colors E000 Pale Fruit Pink, E00 Cotton Pearl, E11 Barley Beige, E15 Copper, E18 Dark Suntan, and E93 Tea Rose. And our final marker in BG09 Blue Green.
So what I like about these brush tips is that you can go from a thick line to a thin line, and you can get pretty thin lines with this. Whoop! My hand definitely just slipped there. That's not the marker, that's just me. So you can get some thick lines, some pretty medium lines, or you can use the side of the brush tip to get a nice thick line. And what I'm doing at the end here with this swooping it up, you see you get a nice feathering texture at the end, so if that's something you're looking for in your artwork, then these markers definitely allow for that. Now I'm just going to show a close-up of the chisel nib, which is pretty standard among most markers. This skipping that just happened, also just me, artist error. Humans, we never do things exactly right. So, this is standard chisel nib. You can get a fat line, a thin line, some kind of a wonky line if you do some diagonals. And standard with a chisel nib, you're still going to get some streaking when you line with a chisel nib, but with Copics you can blend that out really easily. Although I think the brush marker is standard for making sure these blending lines don't stand out as much. So I'm going to move farther down on my paper, and I'm going to choose some new markers and just show how you can blend between 3 different colors, because that's really what Copics are for. You're supposed to be able to blend between 3 different colors in a color family. So I'm going to start with the brush tip of our lightest color, Barley Beige. Just gonna do a light swatch of this. And you can see with the brush tip, it's nice and smooth. You don't have those same streaks that you get with the chisel nib side of most alcohol-based markers, or water-based markers for that matter. Now I'm going in with our second color, Dark Suntan in E15. I'm going to go back over that with our lightest color, Barley Beige, to show how great Copics are at blending. So as you can see, I definitely get a nice blend of these 2 colors together. They're not streaky, they go over each other really easily, and that's what alcohol-based markers do. They blend really well together because of the alcohol base. So I could keep going over this to get a really nice blend. But I'm now going to add our third color, which is E18 in Copper. Moving my paper down so I can really show you guys. Just gonna put our darkest color down here, blend that up into our mid-tone color. Then I'm, gonna have my markers roll away, which brings up a decent point. These markers, the Ciaos have this little nib at the end to help with them from rolling away, but it really doesn't, as you can see. Like, if I barely nudge this, it bounces with the little nib, but they can really roll pretty easily on their own. So if that's something that's going to bother you with these markers, then I can't say recommend that. But for the quality of what you're getting for these markers, dealing with them rolling away, I think is worth it. But that is just me. So I'm going over this dark suntan color now going over this dark copper color now with our dark suntan color. And as you can see, these are blending so smoothly and easily. So yeah, you get a nice gradient of color between these markers. And I'm just doing this blending really fast. I'm sure if I worked out a little bit longer, that it would look a lot more professional. But these markers, you really don't get any streaking like you do with a lot of other alcohol-based markers. And that's probably why Copics are the industry standard of alcohol-based markers. So the next thing I'm going to talk about with Copics is that they have this downloadable hand color chart that you can get right from their website. And this is a really easy way to show which markers you have in what families, which I will talk about here just in a second. On this part of the chart here, you see how they have the example of BG05. This BG is the color family section. The color family is just, like it says, within the color wheel, refers to the hue of the marker. This next number on this chart means your blending group, so it's within that color family and it refers to the saturation. The lower the number, the less saturation. The higher the number, the greater the saturation. This last number is the specific value within a blending group and it refers to the intensity. I'm hoping that gave you guys a better idea of what these letters and numbers mean on these markers. The downside I will bring up with the Copic Ciaos as opposed to the Copic Sketch or the Copic Classic markers is that on the Copic Ciaos, the ends do not designate any color name or family. Their cap colors are pretty close to what the actual color looks like in the marker, but it doesn't have anything about its color family, and that kind of bums me out, but I do prefer the price point of the Copic Ciaos as opposed to the Copic Sketch, so it's something I don't mind dealing with. So just to explain the last thing about this chart, and then we'll move back to the more exciting thing of the markers. In these groups, you can see there are different symbols within each. This first symbol that looks like this long, wide oval, that means that this marker also comes in a wide. The square means it also comes in Classic, and the circle means it comes in Ciao. All the markers come in Sketch, so that's really what this big old box means, is that it's a Sketch marker. The 0 up front, that's what the marker is labeled. So the 0 here stands for colorless blender. Then this box over here means fluorescent red violet 1. So that's just explaining what color family it's in, and the numbers like we went over earlier.
Hey guys, so I lost the footage of me coloring this girl in, but basically for the jeans and her hair, I just used the same color of blue and layered it over top of itself so it would get darker in some areas. And for her skin and shirt, I used different colors to get the shading that you see here. On her shirt, I used a dark purple and a light pink to get the highlights and the shadows in her shirt, and then colored that over with the same red marker I started in the beginning.
So I'm also going to show something off with Copics that I feel like a lot of people don't show off too often, which I just realized I didn't color in a hairband, so I'm going to do that real fast. Let's make you orange, because that's the little pop. Okay, so I feel like a lot of people get Copics, and then they sort of forget about this whole other end of the Copic with this like chisel end side. They're like, oh, I'll just use brush side, which I get. The brush side is awesome. But I feel like it's a little bit of a waste to get a marker and not care about using both sides of it. So I want to show off what a chisel nib can be good for. I just went one way with the marker. Now going to go down the other way. So I'm going to do the same thing right up here and just a slightly different color. I get the same sort of block effect texture. It's not quite as noticeable as it is lower on this picture, but that's exactly the texture I want to go for. So that's why I want to show off how a chisel nib can be used, because you can get textures with it that you just can't with a brush nib. And I think textures are so important for adding that depth into a piece that you're not just going to get by using smooth colors. Alright, so my block texture's done with my wall. Now, because there is such a large background space here, and Copics are so expensive, and I just don't feel like wasting all my beautiful things on this picture, I'm just gonna leave this blank and white. I like white space in my art anyway, so this goes along with my style, because I like when things sort of seem like they're not grounded and they're in this sort of a void. So, I mean, it really looks like this girl's like, she's hanging out on a wall somewhere, so she's grounded with that, but then there's all this light floaty space up here, and I like to think that's because she's maybe stuck in her mind, she's daydreaming, so she's physically grounded, but she's mentally open. So yeah, all of that aside, back to talking about these markers. Overall, I really like Copics. They are the industry standard for a reason. They come in a variety of colors. There's 358 total colors, and those are in the sketch Copic markers. The Ciaos come in 180 colors, which I think is plenty, and really, if there are any gaps I need to fill, I don't mind buying a sketch marker because I do art all of the time. It is an investment thing for me. If you want just alcohol markers to play around with, I really recommend Blick Illustrator markers. I made a whole video on that too, so I'll link that below if you guys want to check that out.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys liked this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!